It was meant to kill me, sent to destroy me.
Hello, thank you for joining in on today's episode of the Inspired Women Show. I thank you for joining in. Our topic today is going to be on mess to message. Sometimes in life we make mistakes in life and we want to beat ourselves up for it. And also sometimes things also happen to us and we also want to ask God, why me, why me, why me? I remember when I was going through all my ordeals, I keep asking God, why me? And I remember somebody saying sometimes that God will also ask us, if not you, who? So for whatever situation you're going through, that's because God has seen you capable. You remember He said He will not give us what we cannot bear. He always gives us that which He knows that we can handle, even though when we're handling it, it seems like we cannot handle it, but He never gives us what we cannot handle. And for everything He brings our life, it's for a reason. So I shared during the last episode that I had with my mom where we talked about the journey to my arrival into this world and all the things that we both went through as a result. And I also shared how by the time my dad showed up, I had already made a mistake of my life by accepting to marry a man that I was so much pressurized into marrying after I fought and said no and even told him I don't want to marry. He lied about everything, lied about his age, and everything was a lie. And I just knew in my spirit that there was nothing about that marriage that I wanted, but due to that family pressure and all, and also I felt like I didn't want to be a burden again to my uncle or to my family. And I was like, okay, if not for anything, let me just say yes, because the pressure was so intense. And I agreed to that, and I had no peace from the moment I said yes. Everything was like a deja vu to me. Before I could know what was going on, the whole thing was done, and I was like, what just happened to me? Did I just say yes to this, and is this already done? It happened so quickly that by this we closed school. By the time I come back from school, from the holiday, for Christmas holiday, the whole thing had happened. Everybody was like, when did that happen? Like, we knew that there was nobody, but the whole story that led to him coming to our house is a long story, which I will spare us tonight. But I just want to go straight to the point, which is the fact that I went into that marriage out of pressure, and a lot happened to me in that marriage. That marriage was where I saw, I used to hear about domestic abuse, how those people really get up and start beating a woman and stuff like that. It was just something that I didn't think it would ever happen to me. And I remember getting pregnant, being about almost 3 months pregnant for no good reason. I was beaten like a thief, like I was being pounced on and grabbed my neck and choking me for no single good reason, just over something like a question about where was the phone or something. And I responded, and next thing I knew it, I was being grabbed from the walls of the kitchen into the bed and being pounced to almost, I was about passing out. And I kept screaming and I kept screaming for help. Eventually he let go and I was in shock. And about a week later, so I went into miscarriage and I lost that baby. I remember during that time crying and asking God to please spare that child, because that was the only one thing that was keeping me in that home, because I had nothing else to live for, because there was no love. My opinion didn't matter. I was not allowed to do anything. It was just terrible. Everything that I feared would happen happened to me in that very marriage. But guess what? His plan was that he would frustrate me, maybe because of, according to him, that I frustrated him the time that he was asking for my hand in that marriage. And then when he now turned around, he wanted to make sure I did not get my papers. He was about to travel out of another state, and I did not have no papers and everything. I was like, God, what am I supposed to do? I just kept crying and asking God, forgive me for accepting and for making this mistake. And then one day at the church, the church stepped in and was able to give me file for me through Women Empowered Against Violence, because they have seen my situation. I was in church in tears, bawling and crying my eyes out, asking God, why me? Why is all these things happening to me? Why me? Why is everything happening to me this way? But you know what? God was there watching. I'm sure He's like wondering, I have a purpose for you. If only you can understand. If only you can understand that I have a purpose for your life. But at that point, I could not see all that. It was just traumatic. It was just a traumatic experience for me. But after all said and done, God was able to restore me. Eventually, I met my now husband, and our journey began, and a lot of things has happened to us, a lot of challenges. And eventually, we had the highest challenge of our life like 4 years ago, where this marriage was heavily threatened, that we were apart for so long, for about almost 8 months while I was pregnant. The enemy really came and attacked our marriage so badly. But through it all, and I knew one thing the enemy was fighting was not just that marriage. That was the final year for my doctoral program. And that was one thing that I really, really wanted, because one of the things that happened to me in that marriage was that this guy was doing his PhD, and every time that I will cry, he will call the cops on me and tell them that I'm disturbing him where he's studying for his PhD. And I always tell God, Jesus Christ, because somebody is studying for PhD, that's why you maltreat another human being. And I always tell God, maybe someday you will give me my own doctorate degree, but may I not use it to oppress people. So I guess the enemy knew that that was the final year, so he had to attack my marriage so badly again to see if he could distract me. And I was pregnant, and the enemy was fighting and fighting and fighting. But I refused to give up. I held on to God, and I told him that you will never leave me nor forsake me. You must see me through this all. A whole lot happened, but God spared me, spared that baby, and eventually restored my home. And it's been 4 years, and I cannot thank God enough for all the people He used and all that He has allowed me to go through. Because out of all that, the story of Inspired to Become arose. You know, while I was going through all this ordeal, I never saw God in it. I never understood. But as of 2 years ago, the prophecies started coming about women leadership, and then again this year, another prophecy about me taking a course started coming, and developing online teachings and stuff like that to help women. And as the Lord will have it, He started putting that word together. He started talking to me about taking courses on life coaching, and eventually gave a name for this program, which is Inspired to Become and Excel. I remember sleeping when I was like thinking, this name, like, how did this name, okay, what is really the meaning of this name? I know to inspire means to make somebody do something or inspire people to do stuff. But when I now looked at the word inspired, it's like it's referring to invoking an unusual level of creativity in people, inspiring people to become more creative or do things that they never imagined they could do. And the Lord said, what is one of your biggest gifts is giving out creativity. I'm like, okay, now it's making sense. God is trying to use my passion and my pain to turn it into that purpose which He has created me for. And then I was like, the empowered woman, which is a subtitle for the name Inspired to Become, the empowered woman. I'm like, okay. And the Lord brought it to my memory. He said, how did you get your papers in this country? And I said, through Women Empowered Against Violence. He said, that's it. He said, all the journey that you've been through is all part of the process of what I want you to do for me. I want your story to be an example to other women just like you that have been through things that you've been through, and also for your life also to stand as an example to other children that were born the way you were born, and also for you to stand as an ambassador and to set a foundation that will help them and also encourage them to understand that if you could become something great, that they too can become something great. So you see, I never saw God in all this, but God was in all my journey all this while. and now I can see the reason why He has allowed me to go through this process. So today, I'm here to encourage you. I don't know what it is that you're going through. Can you trust God? Can you see God in it? Can you know that God is in it with you? That He will never leave you nor forsake you? Can you trust Him for His word in Jeremiah 29:11 that says, "For I know the plans I have for you. There is a plan of good and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope, to bring you to an expected end." That is His promise. It doesn't matter what you're faced with. It doesn't matter what mistake that you think you might have made. It doesn't matter what the enemy has brought your way. It's all for a purpose. The things that you're going through, the things that are happening to you right now, they are not just happening to you, they are happening for you. If you can trust God to make a message out of that mess, if you can trust Him to make a testimony out of that test, put your trust in Him. Do not give up hope. Hold tightly onto Him. Worship Him in the midst of your pain. That was one of the things that helped me in the midst of my storm. I will worship Him. I could not sleep without worship because that was the only thing that kept me sane. I will feel like I'm losing my mind. I will feel like I'm gonna die the next minute in the midst of the struggles. And I will always put my worship song and I will worship God through my sorrow, through my pain. I will stop and I will weep and I will weep and I will weep and I will wipe my tears and I will continue to worship. Live a life of worship, because when praises go up, blessings come down. I know sometimes when you're down and beaten, it's so hard to worship, but find a way to worship Him in the midst of that storm and you will see Him show up for you. I thank you for tuning in tonight, and I ask that you still remember to please share this channel. God has a lot of things in stock through this channel. His plan is to inspire you to become all that He wants you to be and excel. There are a lot of important topics that He has lined up. These are all foundational topics that I needed to share before we could go into the main plan that He has for this channel. So keep in touch and share, and also remember please to click that subscribe button to subscribe, so that you can also click the bell on the right hand side so that you can get alert when I upload a new video, so you can be able to follow. I know that God will bless you through this channel and also bless a lot of other people. Most times we don't want to share our story because we are fearful for people judging us and people criticizing us. But guess what? For the ones that want to criticize, this video is not for you. This video is for that one that is going through some painful experience right now, asking God, why me? That is who this video is for. Just know that God got you. Don't allow anybody to tell you otherwise. God is working for you. Even in the midst of the storm, your story will become a life-saving story. Your test will become your testimony. That mess that you find yourself currently in will become your message someday if you allow God to make it your message. I thank you and God bless.
That He's making all things work together. It's what